everybody. My name is Mike. I'm a grateful recovering addict. Today, I'd like to take another moment of silence, try to calm my nerves. I'm nervous, and to invite God in, help me carry a concise message. Narcotics Anonymous. Thank you. Thanks to my higher power for allowing me another day. Due to some acceptance, I'm standing here. I took a risk. I don't know most of you, but it was taught to me a long time ago, get vulnerable, take some risks, put your name on the list, man. Do whatever is going to get you off your comfortability square and make you a little uncomfortable, and venture out, risk something, and you perhaps will grow, through that. I know a little bit about acceptance, so why not share it with you, I know a lot about not having acceptance because I'm an addict, and my nature is to deny away anything that's uncomfortable, to cover it up, to run, to use drugs. Anything I could do to smooth over those bumps, I learned how to do very effectively. Becoming my own higher power was one of the ways that suited me over the years, If I didn't want to face something, I changed it. Whatever, kind of insanity it took, I forced it to change, at least in perspective. My perspective. You may have seen the truth, but my perspective was twisted up. Became addicted to comfortability. Early on, before I ever picked up a drug, it was fantasy. It was, that denial was there, always present. I didn't like who my family was. Very embarrassed about my circumstances, so I learned to lie effectively. And I told you that Bobby Orr, go Hawks, was my uncle. They were coming over and they were going to take me out to lunch. Whatever it took from a sprout on, to deny away who I was. I had no acceptance. From the back of the yards, 55th Street, south side of Chicago. Grew up in a little tough neighborhood. Hit the streets running. My mom passed early, and my dad was a juicer. He loved me, but he had no way to control me. No way. So I didn't know nothing about discipline or, respect or any of that. So what came natural to me was I make the rules. Therefore, I didn't have to have any acceptance because I could convert the truth to be mine. And it didn't work, My life was always a struggle. I was always butting heads with the authorities, with teachers, with family, with girlfriends, with wives. I'm on my third wife. God bless her soul. And I'm on the verge of divorce again, unfortunately. And bankruptcy. And some hard times, man. I've got a kid that's indifferent to who I am. I've got a kid that's a rebel. He's 11, thinks he's 30, and wants to flip me off and get in my face and tell me how it is. And I've got a daughter who's unfortunately got the genetics that I carry. And every time I see her on Facebook, she's got a drink in her hand. She's kissing a girl or something crazy. Having fun like I did. And but the problem is she's got that nature about her. When she cleans house, she cleans house. I invited her by recently, and she took a lighter to all the fringes on my couch. Lifted up the couch, tipped it on the side, vacuumed the bottom of the couch. I mean, she's obsessive compulsive like her father. What I know about acceptance. I remember the first piece of literature, other than his book, was a little tiny book called Acceptance, man. It had a seagull on the cover. I got it in treatment. I don't remember much about what it said, but there was a little passage in there, and they were asking a nomad in the desert how he dealt with the whirling dervishes, dust storms. And he says, I just leave them be. And, that was 15 years ago. I don't have that kind of clean time today. I recently, last Saturday, celebrated 6 years. I've had 6 years before and pissed it away. Um, I'm not proud of that fact, but it's my reality. I don't deny it. Again, I was an expert at denying everything that was uncomfortable. I've relapsed many times. I've had many sponsors, good people in my life that loved and cared about me, wanted nothing but good for me, and I couldn't accept their love. And again, what happened? I took my will back. I took my higher power and denied him away and got high again. This beautiful gift, God-given gift, this grace that I've been given, I've chose to throw away, not only by using, but in my behaviors. Because you guys have taught me a better way to act, a better way to be, to have acceptance and tolerance and patience and unconditional love and honesty and respect. And all these things were completely foreign to me when I was in the street. You've given me, and I've chosen not to use them to the ability that I'm capable of. Therefore, where is my recovery when I'm acting in that manner? You know what I mean? If I have some knowledge and I choose not to use it, shame on me. We were all taught in our first 30 days what to do in recovery and how to stay clean. Now what are we doing about our recovery? I can only speak for me. I was sharing with an addict before the meeting. Thank you. It helped. About personal details, man. I have to get humble. I have to tell you who I really am to get any kind of real answers and real solutions. I could walk around sounding good, acting okay. I could be employable, and even my dog likes me. I like to say, um, not so much the wife anymore. We're working on that. But in the end, if I don't utilize what you guys have taught me through acceptance, so you accept me for who I am, broken and twisted up and screwed up as I am, you guys accept me, and that's the catalyst for me to recover. Because my low self-esteem says, I can't compare with you guys. I don't have what you have. I don't need to be here because I don't really deserve this. I don't fit in. And the truth is, like yesterday's Just for Today, I belong here. This is my this is my God-given gift. I don't have many. The ones I have, I better learn to cherish. Acceptance is the key to recovery. Look at all the old literature, the real old Brown Book, the first, all your first pieces of literature was about the key. Acceptance is the key. It's what sets us free. With acceptance, I could take the truth. I can hold on to it and honor it for what it really means. Be true to thine old self. I could do what I need to do. I don't have to be in denial. I don't have to be stuck on stupid. Well, I'm real good at that. Any fool could be, a junkie. I'm sorry. It's real easy to be a screw up. It takes some work to try to change and to have some acceptance for your flaws and to move forward through that. Through being twisted and maybe acting out and then coming back again and saying, okay, I need you. I need your help. I need what you have to offer. I don't have the answers. I just want what you have, and I think, God loves me enough to give me some of that. And when I accept His love and grace, then I act accordingly. Someone said the other day, their dog has unconditional love. You can kick him and he'll come back to you in 5 minutes licking your face. I'm not like that. I hold on to resentments and but I've done some step work and some introspective on me, and I know that not only am I full of character defects, I have some assets. I'm not just a big giant liability. There are some good points to me. I'm worth recovering today. I'm worth the effort, but I have to get vulnerable. I have to put my name on the list, and I have to do scary shit like come up here and talk, and I have to do those things that allot me a better way of life. I got a better quality of problems in my life today because my wife and me are on the edge, and my pool is green, and my bank account ain't where it should be. It's a lot better than where I used to be, trust me. I don't have people wanting to kill me that I know of. I'm not stuck in some stranger's basement for 4, 5, 6 days in a row, sitting on a milk crate, just patiently waiting for that next bump. I'm not running with the dregs of society anymore. Not that they're any worse than I am, but I'm not running with them anymore. I can stick with the winners and try to emulate what you people have and what you've taught me. God loves me enough, to come out to the middle of Indiana, this punk from Chicago, and learn to adapt and to change and to be better than I used to yesterday. It's a one day at a time program. Caught a couple fish. I ate some breakfast. I got some nourishment. Got some love. Some really, really good coffee. Some really nice smiles and head bobs that, like, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I don't pretend to be no whiz kid at recovery, man. No, by no stretch of the imagination, am I a poster boy for what you're supposed to do here. I've done most everything you can wrong here. The only thing I've done successfully is I kept coming back, and I try to trust the process. I have acceptance that I'm not going to do this perfectly, nor are you. My expectations aren't too high. Any of you could let me down at any minute, and I'm capable of that as well. I'm only human. Steps are unbelievable. The transformation that takes place due to the step work in you people and me and everybody else. Think about it. We were at the bottom of the barrel when it came to social skills. I don't see any fights going on. I don't see anybody complaining about their wallets missing out of their tent or my car's gone or come on, that didn't happen in my world. Everybody was screwing everybody for any reason on a daily basis. And because we recover and we do the next right thing for the right reason, we get better. The message is hope. The promise is freedom. I'm free to be me. Broken, screwed up as I am, I'm okay with me. I'm a lot better than I used to be, and you kind of like me. Some of you even hug me. And some of you even take time out to talk to me. I was telling Tom before the meeting, I wish more of you guys would give me pull-ups, because I know I ain't working this thing perfectly. But people don't want to approach me and say, hey, man, you need to take a look at this. I don't know why they don't, man. I wish they would. My sponsor will when I open up to him completely and tell him the real deal, what this monster's really thinking about. But I got the good guy here, and I got this program that's spiritual in nature that guides me through the steps and traditions and concepts and, all that I need to do to stay in recovery and choose to be a loving, productive member of society, man. That's all I want to do is not use and be okay. I don't need the big mansion and nice car and the hot lady. All I need is to feel freedom from who I used to be and freedom from self. And to know that God's looking out for me and I can do the same for others, man. I might just share one thing with one person one day that may save their life, man. You know how important that is? You guys reached back for me when I was all twisted up and arrows broken off of my ass. Told me it was going to be okay, man. Just get it together and have some acceptance. You screwed up, now get back on the program. Work some steps. Get honest. Take a look at what triggers you. Take a look at the secrets that you harbor to keep you sick, and try to relinquish your resentments and such, and just do your step work as you're supposed to, and you'll be okay. Life ain't gonna be great. Nobody's promised me a rose garden, but yeah, I own a home. I'm employable, and I respect myself enough to recover today. And that's what I'm trying to do, and I'll do that today with your help, your unconditional love, strength, and hope, and experience. Acceptance is the key. If I can accept me, I might be able to accept you. And man, I was scared. Now I feel at home again. So figure it out. I get vulnerable. I get a little crazy naked, and don't hold anything back. I'm still sick. I'm still broken. I still need work. In the end though, I'm gonna get better, because I'm not gonna let this thing go. It's too valuable. God gave it to me. I think I ought to respect this gift of recovery. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. And now our second speaker, Jimmy B. from Fort Wayne.
I'm an addict. My name is Jimmy. Man, hello, family. Thank God for Narcotics Anonymous. Man, you know, Mike was up here sharing. He touched on a lot of good points, and acceptance has always been real hard for me. Man, even growing up, I grew up in a mixed family, and it was hard to accept life for what it was. You know, and I'm talking about growing up before microwaves, before TVs, you know, for real though, right? And way long before cell phones and all that. So life was real simple for me then, but it was hard to accept, you know, the names that people had called me. It was hard to accept going to schools where, you know, you had a mixed brother and a mixed sister going to the same school with you, and you would tell them that they sisters and brothers, and back then it was like, for real? You know, and it was like, and as I grew up, it was like, acceptance was like the real spiritual principle that I had a lot of problems with until I came to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. You know, and then y'all was talking about this loving and caring God, right? And it was hard for me to accept that loving and caring God, because even when I was young and my mother would take us to church, and everything that in that church, if you did anything wrong and everything that I did was wrong, that I was going to hell, and, you know, God was going to punish me and all this other stuff. And then I came in and y'all was talking about this loving and caring God, and it was like, how can I accept that? After all my life, I've been taught about this fire and brimstone, and this God that wasn't so loving and caring. He wasn't even forgiving. You know, and then y'all introduced me to this God, and y'all told me I could call him what I want to, and I do have another name for him, you know, but I call him that when me and him is in our private conversations, right? Because I respect the traditions of Narcotics Anonymous, you know, and I respect the anonymity of this program. And if you want to call your guy by any other name, then that's your business. You know, that's the acceptance that I have today. You know, I was thinking a lot about when they was asking me to share today. You know, the first thing that I want to do is like let somebody new come up here and share. You know, accept the fact that a whole lot of people that heard me share, and, you know, my story is the same story I keep telling time and time again, right? And, you know, it's time for some new people to come up here and start sharing. You know, it really is. And I need to accept that I ain't the only one that can carry a clear-cut Narcotics Anonymous message, right? You know, I ain't really the NA police. Am I, Ruben? One thing this process has taught me how to laugh and how to enjoy life, right? And I do that sometimes at other people's expenses too, for real. Don't believe me be in a meeting while I'm in there. You know, and I'll be up there laughing and joking, and while you be up there sharing and you be crying, and I'll be calling you old crybaby and shit like that, right? Because I know y'all do the same when I'm in the rooms crying. You know, and I know that because I've seen it happen time and time again, but it's a part of the acceptance that people are just going to be people. You know, and just because we come in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, we don't turn into no angels, and we ain't saints and all that other stuff. We still human. And whether you like it or not, it's something you have to accept if you want to stay clean. And that acceptance was a real powerful word for me, because, you know, when I look at the Serenity Prayer, and it talks about accepting some things that I cannot change. There's a whole lot of things that I can't change. And there's a whole lot of things I don't have to accept either, right? You know, because I can just kind of like go about my business, let y'all go about y'all business, don't worry about you. But the people that we love, and I'm talking about the people that we've grown to love in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, there's something about when you see them doing some crazy stuff, Mike was sharing about it, we don't want to tell them. We want to just accept it as when they get enough pain, they'll change. We just accept that fact. We won't help them out and say, hey, look here, Jimmy, you're acting crazy in a meeting. You need to say, because you got a whole lot of years clean, you need to set your butt still and listen to the message. You know, but we don't want to accept that. We're just like, when he get enough pain, he'll change. You know, people look at him all crazy and, you know, talk about him. He'll change. But the real fact is we need to accept the fact that just because I got some clean time, I'm not exempt from acting crazy. You know, and I need to be told that, whether I like it or not. And a lot of times I don't like it, right? You know, one thing about this process I understand is that because we accept some things, we don't have to like them. You know, we don't. But if we want to change and we want to get better in this process, we accept some of that constructive criticism. You know, in step 7, it talks about the first thing we want to do is get defensive. You know, when people point out our shortcomings, we don't want to accept them as, yeah, that's a good thing. I want to change. I want to be that goody guy, you know. But the reality of it is that sometimes I just want to be stupid, you know, and it's okay. And yeah, I know it is. And because the pain don't get great enough, I won't change. I'll just say, okay, yeah, all right, I'll talk too much, okay. But my thing is, let your cell phone go off in a meeting. Well, I'm going to be pointing at you, and I want everybody to know that it's your phone. We be in a meeting with 50, 60 people because I turn mine off all the time, right? I don't, serious, I don't know how my phone rings because I always keep it on vibrate. Always. Because I go to a lot of meetings, and I don't want to be the one that, you know, and then I point, you know, everybody be pointing at me and shit, right? That's my thing, right? But that's part of the acceptance that we get years clean this process. I still don't accept some things that happens in the meetings. You know, whether I like it or not, whether I care about it or not. My thing is that I think that everybody has a right to recover, and I think that newcomer needs to hear a real message. And sometimes the message is not by the people that sharing. The message is by some of us old timers because we hook up with a friend in the meeting or we see somebody we ain't seen for a while and they come to a meeting and we get to whispering, and then, you know, my voice so loud I don't whisper, y'all. Whispering ain't my forte. So, you know, like when I start whispering, it's like everybody, you know, hey, he's sharing, he ain't whispering, right? So, but that's the things that we do. But the things that we accept in life is the things that help us grow. Because when we don't accept some things, guess what? We get resentments. And when I get resentments, it's like real ugly for me. You know, because I hold on until the pain get great enough. You know, and then I'll change. But the thing about it is when I start accepting life on life terms, and I start accepting that it ain't always going to be Jimmy's way. Sometimes it's going to be other people's way, and I just need to let them be where they at. You know what I'm saying? So I know that through this process, man, and through keep coming back and keep growing, man, my acceptance has grown quite a bit. You know, and the point of it is that when I take the focus off of me, that's when I start learning how to accept that everybody can't be wrong and I be the one who's right all the time. You know, because I still want to be right all the time. Most of the time anyway. But the reality of it is that I'm just human and I make mistakes and I do some crazy things. Through this process, though, I've learned to accept the fact that my family is kind of like, Mike was sharing that my family is kind of like, I don't know if they dysfunctional or whatever the word for it is. They don't live life on life terms right? So I want to teach them and I want to tell them about how to do things, but I don't want to lead by example a lot of times. Because it's a lot easier to tell somebody than to show somebody, right? You know, I was with this dude, he was from Missouri. He came to Fort Wayne to a meeting last Sunday, and I was talking about the show me state. You know, and that's what we need to do in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, you know, more. We need to show people how to act instead of just keep telling them and then showing. It used to be a thing where my mother and them used to say, don't do what I do what I tell you to do. You know, in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, I like to think that we need to watch what I do and then do what I do. You know, Mark was reading that if you want what we have to offer and are willing to make the effort to get it, you know, you got to do some work around here. And the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous is the work that we had to put in. You know, just working the steps ain't nothing. No, the literature talks about the message is meaningless unless we live it. You know, we can share about how good the steps work in our lives, but if we ain't living them, then what? You know, how can I tell my sponsor, my sponsee to do some things when I'm not doing it right? You know, how can I tell him, you know, to go to 90 meetings in 90 days and I'm just going to 80? You know, and the reality of it is, with Years Clean, I still go to meetings every day. You know, and sometimes I had to find that balance in my life, you know, that's kind of like a little bit, I tell people, it's so much easier for me to go to a meeting than wash my dishes, right? Because I've been single for a while, right? And I don't have to go by the kitchen to wash the dirty dishes all the time, right? So it's easy for me just to go to a meeting. And that's one of the things that I've accepted and I don't like. I need to be more disciplined about some things that I need to do. I'm vigilant in some step work. I'm vigilant in everything there is for Narcotics Anonymous. We have two conventions in Fort Wayne next year, right? And I'm on each committee. I'm the secretary of ISNAC. I'm the assistant treasurer for NEAGNA. I'm the chairperson of our area. So, you know, I'm doing a lot of service work, right? And then things start falling apart at home. You know, I ain't vacuumed them up in about 2 weeks, right? I got a dishwasher. I load the dishwasher. I ain't turned it on. You know, a whole lot of things that I'm accepting that's going on. You know, and that's how reality of it is, though. I've accepted one thing, that service work alone won't keep me clean either. You know, one thing about the program of Narcotics Anonymous is, and I've accepted, is that just one area is not going to do it. Going to meetings just won't do it. You know, writing on the steps just ain't going to do it. You know, you got to do the whole toolbox. You know, if you ain't got the whole toolbox, you know, then you need to get what's working. You know, and a lot of times for me, man, certain areas of my life and certain periods in my recovery process, certain things have been just working just fine. But it comes a point in time when we must change. Somebody said, it was a shirt or something talking about we must grow up or die. You know, and that's what I need to accept, that sometimes I just need to grow up. You know, I don't have to be that shaky, insecure child no more. You know, in the self-acceptance IP, it talks about some of us will never outgrow the centeredness of a child. And sometimes I don't. But that's one of the things that y'all have to accept. You know, if you don't, then that's y'all. See, the one thing about this process is that the things that I don't accept is the things that keep me sick. And the things that y'all don't accept is the things that keep y'all sick. It's not each and every one of us. You know, what makes me sick might not make Mark sick. You know, but one thing about it, if we work on what we need to work on, and we keep in contact with our sponsors, and we do the things that's necessary in this process, man, we grow up. You know, and that's one thing I do in this process, man. I'm steady growing. You know, yeah, I don't know. I do know some things about this process. I know that I accept the fact that God has led me to Narcotics Anonymous. You know, I was thinking about how we talk about making gratitude lists. I was thinking about making an acceptance list this morning, and I went off by myself, and I had a little meditation process that I do every morning, and I got just thinking about some things that I've accepted, man, that's real painful for me sometimes. You know, and the most painful for me right now is like this time of year, my son was incarcerated back in '97, and he's doing 180 years up in Michigan City. And sometimes that acceptance is kind of like real hard for me because, around his birthday and around some special days, and about a year ago, I had a grandson that passed away. So this time of year is real. I don't know, it ain't painful no more. It's still prevalent, but it's not painful no more because I done worked some steps on it. I done talked to some other people, but it's like one of them things that don't never go away sometimes. And they talk about time heals all wounds, but sometimes them wounds is in there, right? And it takes a lot of time. I've accepted the fact that my son is there because some choices that he made. I didn't put that gun in his hand. Not that gun. And that's what I had to check out because, I have put some guns in his hand. And it was so unacceptable to me, I guess, because of the way that I was the parent at one time. But I make up for it today through being a sponsor in the Rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. One thing about it is I've accepted some things that I cannot change, and some things that I can change, I change them. Thank God I know the difference today. I had the wisdom to know the difference. That there's some things that I just cannot change. And them the things that I accept. Thanks for letting me share.
Okay, we're going to open the floor for sharing. I need to remind everyone that you are being taped. If you wish not to be taped, please let me know so we can turn off the tape. Anybody have a problem with being taped? Okay, we're going to open the floor up for sharing.
I'm an addict. My name's Mark. Acceptance. I remember. A lot of things with me still don't change, man. My first reaction to anything is denial. I'll be driving down the road and hear a noise in the car, and I don't want to. Oh, that can't be. No, that can't be that. That can't be that. I just fixed that. It's got to be something else. So I know that acceptance is something that I got to work on all the time. And the hardest thing, the basic text talks about it, and I don't remember exactly what the hell it says, but the last thing to go to freedom is the acceptance that I'm an addict. I don't want to be an addict. There ain't no prep school, There ain't no addict preparatory courses. I didn't have these kind of thoughts for myself when I was coming up, man. I was going to be, I don't know what the fuck I was going to be, but I sure wasn't going to be an addict. So to break it down to that, to really break it down to that and feel that yes, I am an addict. Now what? Sometimes I think, which is scary, but I mean, sometimes I think in our zeal for political correctness, we allow things to happen in the rooms that we got to stand up to, man. I listen to people talk about how many meetings they got, and I got one meeting in my hometown. My home group is the Second Chances group in Narcotics Anonymous. We meet on Thursday night in Sault Ste. Marie. That's it, man. 50 people, shit. There ain't no 50 people, there's 12, maybe. And half of them are from treatment center. So when I go to the cities, I go to meetings, man, and I'm not judging shit. I'm just saying that, okay? I'm not judging nothing. But what I'm saying is we allow things to happen, and old timers, and I'll check them too, man. Don't be sitting there texting in meetings. What the hell's that saying? What that's saying is, I'm so fucking important, I don't care what you got to say. I got so much going on. This recovery, look, man, you better do this, but you know, we can't. Look, how much time did I devote to getting high? That's what I break it down to. How much time did I spend getting, using, finding ways and means? I can't sit down for an hour and a half. I mean, goddamn, I love to watch people with the knees bouncing. I go sit by them, man. I go sit by them because somebody came and sat by me. Somebody came and told me, come back. What the fuck do they want? Where I come from, when they told me to come back, it's because I OD'd and they got all my money, you know? I mean, they come back because come back because I'm a chump, man. So I couldn't understand. Let me tell you what acceptance has led to for me. Acceptance has led to tolerance. Acceptance has led to love. And how it works, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, I didn't come here for that, man. I didn't come here for no spiritual awakening. I came here because I sure as shit didn't accept the fact I was an addict. I came here because I just needed to get my shit together so I could go out and get another one. Okay, and if I come here long enough, maybe you guys, I think what you guys will teach me how to do is get high without the consequences. See, that's what I want. I like getting high. It's them goddamn consequences. I've heard it here in these rooms. I get high, I break out in handcuffs. I get allergic. So how do I get acceptance? For me, the way I got to acceptance, and I heard it this morning, and it's a thought that I've had many times. God bless you people in early recovery, man, because I wouldn't want to go through that shit again. So I come back. See, I come back because I don't want to change my clean date. All right, my clean date's pretty important to me, and I don't want to change it. And see, I get these good ideas when I'm left to my own devices. And the first good idea I get is, I am a responsible, productive member of society. I ain't got time for a fucking meeting. I got things to do. And then if I go in, I'll go in late, you know, and leave early. Still acting on them dope fiend behaviors, man. But what I guess where I'm at with this whole acceptance thing is, Jimmy, you touched on it, man. We need to be examples. We need to be examples because, and even if we're bad examples, for Christ's sake, I've been a bad example. But you know what? It tells people that no matter what, if I don't put the first hit on it, I'm going to be okay. I don't know what okay is. People say, and this is another thing that pisses me off, but I get acceptance. Do the next right thing. Man, get out of my way, motherfucker, or you will find out that I don't know what the next right thing is. And I can do that after saying the Serenity Prayer. Okay, that's what happens to me, man. But I have not put any dope on it. I know when I like to hear people talk about the spiritual part of this program because if I had to believe like some people believe, I wouldn't stay. I wouldn't stay. If you got to tell me what to believe, I believe I'll have a buzz. I believe I'll go get one. That was my beliefs. I believe if I get high, this will be different. Okay? The next one will be the one to set me free. So, by this openness, by allowing, my higher power became the group. That's all I could do. That's all I could handle. And I would talk about it though, because see, I didn't want to keep that a secret. Hey man, I got no God. You know, and when I said it, I kind of said it with a thought tie. I got no God, man. That's okay. What? You know, throw some shit out there. I'd throw some shit out there because I'm down with rejection. I'm down with rejection. I'm down with people saying, you ain't right, dude. I'm used to that. No, you need to go somewhere else. Fuck, I got thrown out of dope houses, for Christ's sake. You know? With money. They didn't want me around, man. They didn't want me around. But I you know, to get to this state today is such a gift. It's such a gift. And that gift came to me through acceptance. And when I can accept what's happening with me, then I can accept what's happening with you. But dig this. We do got, I mean, we don't talk about a lot, but we got some codes of behavior that we need to adhere to in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. Because if people come in clowning and stay clowning and continue to recover clowning, that's the message that's being passed. Sometimes we got to get serious, man. Because this is life and death. My brother up in Lansing just lost his arm. Okay? And when I was talking about it at my home group, because it really tore me up, man. He went out there for one more and lost his fucking arm. This chick that was sitting at our table said, you know, I'm an RN. And when I was working in the hospital, I would see junkies come in, man. They'd lose an arm. We'd send them back out. They'd come back. We'd have to take off the other arm. Okay? That's what this disease does, man. So this ain't no joke. This ain't no joke. You want a joke? You want to fuck around? Come on to the campfire later. We'll be talking some shit, man. But when we're in the rooms, man, I mean, there's a reason to smile, okay? Because, God, we're all survivors. But in these meetings, it ain't no joke, man. It ain't no joke. I love y'all. Thanks.
I'm an addict. How are y'all doing today? Acceptance. Oh my God. Ouch. That's a hard one. It's a hard one for me. Because I always just kind of manipulate and do what I wanted to do to get what I needed. I never wanted to accept myself for who I was. But today, the more I look at myself, the more I go to meetings, the more I read my literature, the more I read my meditations, think, whoa, I am crazy, I am fucked up, and I'm sick as hell because I'm an addict. And yes, I'm talking about myself because that's where I am today. I live in the grips of a disease that has no known cure. I didn't cause it. Can't change it. Actually, yes, I can change it by coming to NA. But the main thing that I can do is I can accept it. Do I want to accept it? No. Because I want to stay in denial. And denial to stay in a river in Egypt. It's also right here. And that's what I've done a lot. A lot. I have denied myself 3 basic things. Food, joy, and acceptance. Why? Because every time I look at myself, I look at my self-image. And I can't accept myself for who I am. But when I truly turn around and say, you know what? I need to go to a meeting tonight because I need to feel accepted. I need somebody to stand in front of me and say, I don't care what you've done, how much you've done, or what the hell got you here, but I accept you and I love you for who you are. Yeah, I'm a crazy motherfucker. Get around me, I'm the life of the party. And I was that way with drugs. But now, and I just said this in the last meeting, I'm not addicted to drugs anymore. I'm addicted to cigarettes and life. Why? Because I have found a better place to be. I have found people who love and accept me for who I am. It doesn't matter what I've done, where I've been, how I got there, or how I got to where I am today. I was looking in the index under acceptance, and I found on page 51 of the basic text, and I'm going to read this paragraph, so bear with me. Once we find the NA way, boredom and complacency have no place in our new life. By staying clean, we begin to practice spiritual principles as hope, surrender, acceptance, honesty, open-mindedness, willingness, faith, tolerance, patience, humility. Humility, ouch. That's a hard one to grasp. How can I be humble when I can't even be humble with myself? How can I be humble to somebody else? Unconditional love. Unconditional love. Wow. Sharing and caring. As our recovery progresses, spiritual principles touch every area of our lives because we simply try to live the program in the here and now. Do I want to live in the here and now? I can't have one foot in yesterday, 1 foot in tomorrow, pissing on today. Tomorrow hasn't happened. Yesterday, it's done, it's over with, forget it. What happened yesterday is a blur. It's what matters today and the rest of your time in recovery. But I am in a place where I'm taking each minute of every day and I am looking at myself and what I have to do not to use, not to get back out there. Monday I relapsed. And yeah, I was embarrassed, but I can't point one finger at somebody and have 4 fingers pointing back at myself. Because it wasn't their fault that I picked up and used. It was my fault. And then 4 days later, I got the phone call that I won the drawing to come to We Grow with Love. And the energy has been absolutely electric. I feel so much at peace. I feel a sense of serenity here. I feel like I am ready to go back to South Bend, Notre Dame, Indiana. For those of you who don't know South Bend, Notre Dame, and go back to my home groups and share my experience. Go back to my home group, share my experience of what I learned at We Grow with Love. How I'm going to cope with everyday life, the ins, the outs, and every other direction. Because I can take back what I've learned from here and apply it to my own life. And then, just then, maybe I may get just a little sliver of acceptance, of self-acceptance. You have to accept yourself before you can accept anybody else. And those are just my words of encouragement. We're not in this to do this perfect, because perfect is an unachievable goal. But just remember, every day is a miracle. If you haven't looked in the mirror, go to the bathrooms, look in the mirror. You'll see a miracle. That miracle's you, because you're here. You got up this morning. You came into the workshops. That's a miracle. You're clean. You're sober. If you're clean and sober just for today, give yourselves a hand. I'm done.
Oh, you were going to come? Well, my name's David. I'm an addict, and I'll make sure I share some time. And yeah, I want to thank the people who opened up this whole deal and got it rolling for Sharon, and for not treating it like a mini lead and leaving time for other addicts. And when there was this big wave after they were done, I want to thank other addicts for leaving. Because this isn't a mini lead; it's a workshop. And there's times when I'm not ready for work, and that's the time for me to leave. I don't always get what I want. Every NA meeting, I get what I need, but I don't always get my greeds met. When I got clean, it was in a place where, NA was that place one night a week where we read the promises of another fellowship. We had no pamphlets that had squares and a certain, round hole, and we got late, and we laughed. That was the one night a week where we could laugh. And for me, workshops are a really big deal. At least, there was a real big stretch in there. So I'm also really want to say thank you for those who stayed and those who came back. When I say thank you for leaving, I don't mean fuck you. Close my heart. You make me mad, me angry. It's that I've been kicked out of dope houses, but I've been asked to leave meetings too. Never alone. I've been taken out of meetings, not me, but my behavior. I've learned a lot about acceptance. By finding it right here. The whole idea that I don't deserve this, I get that. And the idea that I suffered and I earned that goddamn chair, I get that. And the idea that I don't deserve this, I get it again. It comes back. This is ongoing fucking work, This is ongoing work. I came to this workshop because I'm doing one tomorrow on grief. And I'm scared shitless. And I'm not scared so much of make an ass out of myself in front of other people. That's familiar now. What I'm scared about, and I don't even mind you guys going in here and seeing what's going on in here. It's that I got to go with you, goddamn it, again, in there on something else, more shit. And, I knew that this was a really good thing for me to, participate in, listen, talk. Acceptance really is the key, it's the key to so many other workshop topics, and sharing time is going to be an important one tomorrow. I've got a head full of just not coherent, not concise shit for tomorrow. And it's going to, I'm going to be keeping my watch out, So I leave time for others, And one of the things I'd forgotten that workshops gave for me, one of the things that just hearing stuff over and over and over from different things instead of just me reading it the same way over and over, I read resentment, anger, and fear, acceptance, love, and faith. I read, serenity to accept. I read so many things talked about it, but it took me so many times before I heard. Very few people are talking about acceptance as something they do. And it's hard not to because it's a habit. But very few of us do it. We get it. We receive it by admitting. Finding faith that it's going to be okay, on average, that some things are going to go completely to fucking flames, and that we are going to cling to them the whole way to impact sometimes, and that's God's will prevailing, as well as self-will prevailing. Acceptance is something I get, just like forgiveness is something I get. It's just, I thought it was something I was doing wrong. And I heard so much today, again, about all the things that lead up to it. And I hadn't thought about that in a while. And that I wasn't knowing that that's what I was going to get when I walked in here. So, thanks.
name is Neil, and I'm an addict. I want to thank my higher power for allowing me to stand here today. This acceptance for me is accepting the fact that I'm not Superman today. Acceptance is saying that I'm an addict. You know, that was a hard thing for me to accept, that I'm an addict and I got a disease that is going to be with me for the rest of my life. That's acceptance. And be not afraid today to tell somebody I'm an addict. Acceptance is learning and be willing to learn some things from a different perspective today. You know, it's truly an honor for me to stand here, you know, with only, just for the day I have 14 and a half months clean, you know. And I stay in the transitional house, and I see guys go out and come right back in like nothing's wrong. And I have to accept the fact that they are who they are today, you know. And it hurts sometimes, you know, because I get connected. I get, you know, I bond with them. And for them to go out there and come back in with a smile on their face like nothing's even happened. So, but I'm coming to the realization that they are where they're supposed to be at the day, and I'm where I'm supposed to be at the day. So the thing with acceptance is I have to learn to be willing, have an open mind, and then be honest with myself that I'm not Superman. With that, I pass. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shelley and I'm an addict. Thanks. This is the first time I've been here and I like it a lot. Acceptance is really hard for me to have people that I don't know accept me for who I am and not even know me, because I put the hats on for everybody, people, places, and things. I'm good at that. What do you want me to, who do you want to see today, you know? And I'm working on that. I'm fairly new to recovery, and so it's just the emotional ups and downs, and I'm trying to get through that, and crying all the time. I'm trying, because for me that's being weak, but I'm working on that. But I'm glad I'm here, and I'm glad I get to meet more people. I need sober people that want to really listen to me and really want to help, instead of just be passive and, you know, yeah, and in one ear and out the other, because, you know, I'm a caring person. I try to do that with folks, but I realize the parts of me that are the people pleaser, and I've always just wanted to be accepted for who I am, from my family. I don't get that from my family, and the unconditional love. I'm getting that. I'm getting that from a lot of people in my group. And with that, I'll pass.
And you know, I was listening to the sharing, like you. I'm doing a workshop later on today on life on life's terms, and I'm scared shitless. You know, I forget a lot of times that this isn't a movie studio, or I'm not performing for, or I'm not auditioning for a play or something like that. This is a treatment facility. This is a meeting that I come to treat this disease from which there's no known cure. And I need to remind myself of that, because you guys don't look sick. You guys look well adjusted and well, and everything's got to be going fine. You know, I look out in the parking lot and there's all these fancy cars, and I forget about, I've been living 90% of my life from the outside in. And this is set up for me to start living from the inside out. That's where the problem is. You know, I've always been able to put on a good front. Most of the time, I thought I did. The problem was the front wasn't working on the inside. You know, the acceptance comes when I realize that I'm being treated for those things that are gnawing at me. Me not being able to have a comfortable relationship with other men. Me being a womanizer. Not having the kind of respect that I wanted to have for females. And this is changing for me. And it's not changing fast enough a lot of times for me because I want it to zoom by. You know, I don't want to do work. I want it to just happen. And it's happening one day at a time with God's help. You know, this weekend is real powerful because I need to tell myself that this is a family reunion. I'm here to meet other family members. And I am related to everybody in this room through the pain and consequences that the disease of addiction has caused in our lives, you know. And I'm grateful to be a part of your family. This family stretches all over the world. There's addicts everywhere, you know, and I'm a part of a society that's got all kinds of discovery going on, you know, and I need to embrace that. I am so glad to be here. Thank you.
Okay, we're at the end of our time. Will somebody please read the Pink Just for Today?